Hi, this is Geauxgreddy and welcome to the CENLA GT Sport IRL Track Challenge Mid-Season Standings Update. If you are new to the channel, the IRL Track Challenge is 8 races being presented by CENLA GT Sport at real-life raceways found on the Gran Turismo Sport gaming platform. There are 2 race categories, a 3-round race format and an endurance race format. In the 3-round race format, points are given for the driver's final position in each of the 3 races. Those points are then totaled for the driver's final standings for that race. For an endurance race format, the racer's final position points are multiplied by 3 to determine the racer's final score. At the end of the season, the lowest 2 scores are dropped and the remaining race points are totaled to determine the IRL Track Challenge champion. The first race of the season, Rally Legends, our drivers headed to West Kingsdown in the United Kingdom to the Brands Hatch GP circuit. There, they put their skills on display in the Group B Lancer Evo or Subaru WRX STI. The 2.43-mile racetrack proved to test more than just the driving skill of our competitors as the race on the narrow circuit began to heat up when the grid was reversed. After 10 minutes of qualifying, round 1 started the familiar face sitting on pole. Moj 840, last season's Audi TT Series champion, took the honors with Sam Din and Revonut rounding out the top 3 on the grid. Those 3 jumped out to an early lead as the mid-pack swapped positions through laps 1 and 2. Lap 3 produced a lead change as Sam stuck his Group B car on the inside line of the final turn, then held it there as he and Moj 840 kept it door-to-door into the first corner and all the way through Druids, with Sam finally moving into the lead. Lap 4, mayhem ensued as lap traffic took out 2 of the top 3 positions and promoted sleep-deprived HK and Geauxgreddy into the top 5. In the final lap of round 1, Proper ID was promoted into P1, sleep-deprived HK into P2, and Sam Dim fell back to P3 as he acquired 5 seconds in penalties. In round 2, the grid was reversed, which put Kelso and Revonut in position 1 and position 2 to start the race. However, everything turned to mayhem as the birthday boy, S2K Willis, was punted off the track in turn 1. This sparked a wreck fest, heading all the way through turns 3 and well into turn 4. Exiting the mass pileup and cars flying off the track left and right, Kaiva, Steven, and Moj 840 managed to escape the mayhem and move out front into positions 1 through 3. Many passes were made throughout the 5-lap race as the racers were charging forward with their elbows out. On lap 3, Steven exits Sheen Curve carrying too much speed and allows Ghost Racer and Proper ID to cut underneath. On the same lap, Loctite runs wide in corner 4 and Geauxgreddy grabs the opportunity to take a position. On the very next corner, Geauxgreddy sets it inside of Steven at Hawthorns to take position 3. Up front, the leader is under pressure as Moj 840 aims his sights at Kiva, who is holding tight onto that first place. Moj makes a clean inside pass on Kaiva into corner 4, taking back position 1. At the start of the next lap, Soul Rider manages to take 2 positions, passing both Loctite and Steven as he makes his way through Halewoods Hill and around Druids. On the final lap, sleep-deprived HK sends it down the inside of Loctite in Sheen Curve and sets up a pass on Soul Rider as they head towards Sterling. Soul Rider runs wide and sleep-deprived HK is there to take advantage, promoting himself into 4th place. The top 3 in round 2 are led by Moj 840, who crosses the line first, followed by Kaiva and then Geauxgreddy. The final round of Rally Legends started with 2 less competitors as Revonut and Kelso dropped from the race, leaving S2K Willis and Carper to start out front in the reverse grid format. By corner 4, Proper ID had moved into 2nd behind S2K Willis, while Carper 300 dropped further back. Lap 2, Moj 840 moved up to 3rd and then 2nd as mid-pack continues the battle for 4th through 6th. In the last corner, Geauxgreddy manages double overtakes and moves into 7th, passing Steven and Ghost Racer 44. Beginning of lap 3, Carper momentarily moved into 3rd as he, Kaiva, S2K Willis, and Soul Rider battle for 3rd spot on the podium. However, after corner 3, Carper had lost 5 positions, falling back to 8, and Kaiva found his way into P3. Start lap 4, Moj 840 overtakes Proper ID, heading down the straight while Kaiva sits in 3rd, looking to reel the leaders in. By the end of lap 4, sleep-deprived HK has moved his way past S2K Willis into 6th, while the top 5 remain unchanged. On the final lap, Moj 840 and Proper ID continue to battle for the top podium spot, while in the back, Sleep Deprived moves past Soul Rider into 5th. Penalties would play a role in the outcome of the final standings as Proper ID is promoted to first place over Moj 840, who had just under 3 seconds of infraction time. Geauxgreddy skillfully bled down 2 seconds of penalties at the finish line to overtake Kiva and keep his lead over Sleep Deprived by 8 thousandths of a second, who also moved past Kiva into 4th. Kiva dropped to 5th as he failed to serve his remaining 1.01 seconds, which converted into 2 seconds at the finish line. So after race 1, Proper ID sits in first with 59 total points, Moj 840 in second with 56, Sleep Deprived in third with 46, Geauxgreddy in fourth with 45, and Kiva rounds out the top 5 with 41. With race 1 in the rearview mirror, the CENLA GT Sport drivers moved east to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Today's tool of choice was going to be out of the late model Group 1 category. There were several choices available. Our competitors went with either the 2016 919 Porsche Hybrid, the 2016 Toyota TS050 Hybrid, the 2016 Audi R18, the 2011 Audi R18, or the 908 HDI by Peugeot. Most of the field deciding to jump into Spa on the back of the Toyota or the Porsche, both solid choices for this 25-minute endurance race. Strategies as well as driver skill would play key roles in the outcome of this contest. After the 10-minute qualifying session, the grid again looked familiar with Moj 840 sitting on pole position in his 919 Porsche on racing soft tires. In second place is local karting legend Kiva V on racing mediums, followed by our resident Canadian Revo Nut to round out the top 3. Unlike round 2 of Brands Hatch, this race started with little fireworks. Geauxgreddy on racing softs made quick work of Revo Nut, who opted to play the long game and start on racing hard tires. Further back, Proper ID on his racing softs and Taylor Coffin on racing hards make their way around Ghost Racer 44 after getting great runs out of Radeon. By the end of lap 12, Proper ID and Sleep Deprived HK have made their way onto the back bumper of Revo Nut, who, after making a mistake in the final chicane, was overtaken by both drivers, leading to a drag race towards La Source. Behind them, Loctite, S2K Willis, and Syrup Assassin traded positions with S2K Willis, finding himself in P10. By the end of lap 3, Ghost Racer takes back P7 as T. Coffin loses control coming out of campus. Also in lap 3, Geauxgreddy on his sticky softs runs down Kiva V on his medium tires and waits patiently until Kiva V makes a mistake in Stavelot as he puts his car wide into the gravel. On lap 4, Geauxgreddy, Proper ID, Ghost Racer, and T. Coffin head into the pits for tires and fuel. Kiva V moved into second, with Sleep Deprived HK being promoted to third. Moj 840 continued to lead the race, putting a large gap on second place. By lap 5, had Kiva V in the pits, and by lap 6, Geauxgreddy made his way back into second, passing Sleep Deprived HK, who started on the racing medium tires. On lap 6, the leader finally made his way in for new shoes as he's worn down those racing softs to the nubs, and for a fill-up of fuel. He returned to the circuit in third place. Those on racing hard tires realized their strategy was the incorrect one and moved over to the racing soft tire. On lap 7, Revo Nut moves to the inside of Proper ID as they head into Blanchiment. Proper ID gets off track and is unable to hold the outside line as Revo Nut moves past him to take 5th place. We hop on board with Moj 840 while he positions his Porsche to the outside, heading into the last chicane. Then it gets extremely awkward when Kiva tries to enter the pit from the inside line. However, disaster is avoided and Moj 840 takes the lead. Lap 10, Geauxgreddy moves back into second as he overtakes Sleep Deprived HK coming out of Stablo. Lap 11, Sleep Deprived tries his luck on the inside of Kiva as they rip through Blanchiment. He's unable to make the move and has to wait to the front straight going into La Source to take third position. Heading into the penultimate lap, we look at Moj 840's racing soft tires. They are well worn. Geauxgreddy's less so. He has about 3.5 seconds to make up, but he is not going to be able to do that before the final lap is over. As they come around the final quarter, Moj 840 will take the checkered flag. Geauxgreddy in second, Sleep Deprived HK in third, Kiva V in fourth, and Revo Nut rounding out the top 5. Looking at the standings after 2 races are in the books, Moj 840 with 131 points, 26 points over second place, which is Geauxgreddy with 105. Sleep Deprived HK in third with 94. Proper ID in fourth with 89. Kaiba V in 5th with 80. So that rounds out our top 5. These competitors have a lot of work to be done if they want to catch Moj 840 for the IRL Track Challenge Championship. Race 3 of the IRL Track Challenge takes place in Le Mans, France at the historic Cirque de la Sarthe. Choice of race cars were limited to 80s and early 90s model LMP Group 1 cars. After qualifying, Moj 840 sat in first, yet again putting his 88 Jaguar XJ9 around the 8.5 mile circuit in just 3 minutes, 23.12 seconds, just short of the 3 minutes, 21.27 lap record set by the same Jaguar in 1988. Kelso piloted his Sauber Mercedes C9 into Q2, while Revonut piloted his Nissan R93 CP into third qualifying spot to start the race. It was voted to begin this race as a grid start, since the chicane would cut off drivers 3 through 9 in a rolling start format, which would effectively end any shot at utilizing the slipstream. This would be our second 25-minute endurance race. For a grid start, there was minimal drama. Only Kelso left the track as he cut corner 2 of the Dunlop S to avoid any collision with Moj 840. Moj, Kelso, and Proper ID slid out front quickly, with Revonut in 4th. Behind them, Soul Rider battles with Geauxgreddy, heading in the second chicane and takes over P5. T Coffin takes 8th from Loctite as they make their way through the Dunlop S's to begin the second lap. At the end of the same lap, Revonut makes a move on Proper ID and Kelso in the Porsche curves as he keeps a clean line and moves up 2 spots into second place. Early lap 3 coming out of the Dunlop S's heading towards Tete Rouge. T Coffin with a strong move on the inside to take the lead heading onto the Mulsanne straight. But later that same lap, Kaiba down the inside at the end of the Mulsanne takes back P7. Same lap, different dance. Geauxgreddy chases down Soul Rider, looking to take back that P5 position in the second chicane of the Mulsanne. Looks down the inside as he gets the power coming out of the corner and makes it stick. Takes back P5. Meanwhile, the top 3 changes again as Proper ID runs down Kelso and puts down the power early for the overtake coming out of Arnage. End of lap 3. The first round of pit stops begin. The chess match starts. Proper ID comes in on racing softs with 36 liters of fuel. The rest of the top 5 stay out on track. Kaiba on racing mediums comes into pit behind Proper ID with only 25 liters of fuel, while Soul Rider enters the pit lane on racing softs and 30 liters of fuel remaining in the tank. T Coffin isn't far behind as he drops into the pits on racing mediums, carrying 29 liters of fuel. To start lap 4, fuel saving pays off for Soul Rider as he exits the pits in 6th place, ahead of Kaiba, who drops back to 7th. Proper ID's pit strategy pays off as he quickly reels in Geauxgreddy and overtakes him on the inside line, heading out of Arnage at the end of lap 4. Kaiba brakes too late at the end of Mulsanne, allowing T Coffin to make the pass for 7th place. At the end of 4 laps, the race leader Moj 840 heads in the pit, swap over his racing soft tires, and top off the tank for the final 4 laps of racing. Right on his tail is Revonut, who enters pit lane on racing super soft tires and 15 liters of fuel. Kelso enters the box with 14 liters of fuel and switches over his racing softs, while Geauxgreddy pits with only 4 liters of fuel on racing softs as well. Loctite struggles in the rear as he runs alone in P9. As lap 5 commences, Proper ID finds himself in first place with Moj and Revo playing chase in 2nd and 3rd. Soul Rider moves into 4th by setting it past Kelso in the Dunlop S's to round out the top 5. Moving on to lap 6, Moj 84 takes back the lead, passing Proper ID between the Mulsanne 1st and 2nd chicanes. T Coffin moves back in front of Kaiba again for P7. The move made in the Mulsanne corner as Kaiba again misses his braking point. Proper ID boxes at the end of lap 6, going for super softs and a splash of fuel. Then Soul Rider pits, forfeiting P5 to Geauxgreddy and falls back to P7 as Kaiba V also pits to swap out his racing mediums for super softs to end the race. Lap 8 was a battle between the top 3 as the game shut down P5 through P9. Proper ID temporarily takes P2 as he passes Revona entering the 2nd chicane, but then misses his braking point and gives it straight back. Moj 840 pulls away from the pack, and Revonut makes a huge mistake in Indianapolis, placing himself in the gravel and allowing Proper ID to make the final move into 2nd. Moj 840 crosses the finish line in 1st, followed by Proper ID in 2nd, Revonut taking the last position on the podium. Moj 840 getting the trifecta as he qualifies pole, has the fastest lap, and finishes the race in first place. So race 3 with the 3x points gives Moj 840 75, Proper ID 60, and Revo Nut with 48 for round 3. Total results after round 3, Moj stays on top while Geauxgreddy drops to third and Proper ID jumps 2 spots into second. Sleep-deprived HK stays in the top 5 but falls behind Kiva, who moves up 1 spot into 4th place. The 4th race of the IRL Track Challenge, Nissan GR2 at Suzuka, Honda, and Lexus also available, brings us to Suzuka, Japan. While this track will be jam-packed with Nissans, the circuit was built in 1962 as a test track for Honda. It is here you will find a home to Super GT race cars, which is the choice for this real-life track challenge. Any 2016 or 2008 Group 2 racer is available to our drivers. Both model years of the GTR were utilized. The 2016 Honda and the 2016 Lexus were also represented in this race. Round 1. Moj 840 again starts on pole with Kelso in second and Zero Duck in third. Turn 1 is taken well by all the drivers. Right away, Zero Duck begins to pressure Kelso and makes the pass as Kelso runs wide coming out of the hairpin. Kelso drops back to P4 but overtakes P. Coffin with an excellent inside pass going through the treacherous spoon. Early lap 2, Geauxgreddy fills up Proper ID's rearview mirror in his Nissan GTR with his Lexus. Proper ID runs wide out of the final S curve and Geauxgreddy jumps into P5. Proper ID falls back to P7. Kaiva reels in Revonet and makes an inside pass stick at the hairpin. Lap 3. Kaiva finds the turf on T1 and allows Revonet to make up a spot as he drops back to the P10 position. Lap 4. T. Coffin loses control coming out of Cassio's triangle and eats the barricade, costing him 4 positions. On the final lap, Zero Duck tries to bring in Moj 840 but is unable as Moj takes P1, Zero Duck P2, and Kelso P3. Round 2, the grid is reversed and Loctite takes the honors of P1 followed by Soul Rider and then Kaiva. Turn 1 claims more victims as Kaiva goes wide and falls all the way back to P13. Soul Rider then loses the rear wide in the first Degner and falls all the way back to P4. At the following chicane, Steven makes a strong inside move, causing Revonet to lose the rear end of his GTR. Steven moves into P3 and Revonet drops back to P5. Later that lap, Loctite is unable to hold on to his NSX in spoon, and Kaiva gains a spot to P12. Coming out of Cassio's triangle, Soul Rider finds the rear quarter of Steven, causing a spin. Geauxgreddy takes advantage and moves up 3 spots to P3 to begin lap 2. Moj 840 makes a strong move on Kelso, muscling his way into P6 in the S's. The following lap, Moj uses the turn in of the mid-engine NSX to overtake Proper ID in the same location. That follows up with another inside move, heading out of spoon as he passes Revonut, charging into P4. Heading towards 130R, he flashes his lights at Geauxgreddy, not realizing the force is strong with this Lexus driver. Geauxgreddy launches it around Ghost Racer, coming out of 130R, taking the inside line into Cassio's triangle and cutting off Moj's blitz towards the front. In retaliation of headlight gate, Geauxgreddy uses his Jedi mind tricks to force Moj off the inside of turn 1, dropping the champion all the way back to P7. On the final lap, Geauxgreddy hunts down T. Coffin and makes a fantastic pass coming out of the second Degner. Zero Duck sticks his GTR down the inside of Revo Nut's GTR and spoon, and Moj 840 jumps in behind him to take advantage of Revo's wide line. Geauxgreddy holds off T. Coffin's charge out of 130R and takes victory in round 2, with T. Coffin in second and Ghost Riding holding on to third place. Round 3, the grid is reversed yet again, and we set off to start the race with Loctite in first, Soul Rider in second, and Kaiva in third. Loctite takes turn 1 with skill in his beautiful Lexus while Steven tries for a bold double overtake heading into the S's. He managed to pass Kaiva, but settles in behind Soul Rider for P3. He then muscles his way past Soul Rider, knocking into Loctite and unabashedly moving into first place. With 30 tires, Loctite is unable to hold on to his car in Degner 1 and slides outside, following all the way back to P13. On lap 2, Steven goes wide into the Dunlop curves and Kaiva finds his rear bumper. Kelso takes full advantage of the mistake with a double overtake into position number 1. Proper ID also takes advantage of the mishap and moves past Kaiva into P3. Heading into Degner 1, 6 races are separated by less than a hair, and sleep-deprived HK goes wide, falling back to P9. Heading into the chicane, Proper ID dives to the inside of Steven, who had no place to go but wide, allowing Moj 840 and Kaiba to follow the GTR through the hairpin, dropping Steven all the way back to position 5. Moj 840 then gets a run on Proper ID, heading into 130R and takes P2. Kaiba and Steven follows Moj through the move, into P3 and P4, respectively. Lap 3, Zero Duck takes advantage of a wide line into the second S by Revo Nut and moves into position 6. But it wouldn't stand long as Proper ID goes wide in Degner 2, causing Zero Duck to collide with the rear of his car, and Revo Nut moves up 2 spots back into position 5. Then Revo Nut goes too deep into Cassio's triangle, and the train passes him by, leaving him in 8th place to start the final lap. On the last lap, Geauxgreddy makes a move, entering the S's, passes Zero Duck into 5th place. Up front, Moj 840 elbows his way past Kelso, moving into P1. Moj finishes in 1st, Kelso in 2nd, and Kaiba takes 3rd in this last round. On the last corner, Proper ID finds traction and makes a run on Zero Duck, who holds on to P6 by just a hair. Round 4 results, Moj 840 in 1st with 61 points, Geauxgreddy in 2nd with 47, Kelso takes 3rd with 44, and Zero Duck in 4th with 43. T. Coffin rounds out the top 5 with 34. The IRL Track Challenge mid-season results are in, and after 4 races, Moj 840 with a commanding lead, 267 points, 82 points over 2nd place Geauxgreddy, who has 185, who has a very slim 8-point lead over Proper ID, who has 177. Kaiba V comes in at 4th with 130, sleep-deprived HK in 5th with 114, who's just 4 points ahead of 6th place Revo Nut with 110. While 1st looks to be out of hand, 2nd through 6th still looks to be up for grabs. 4 races remain in the CENLA GT Sport IRL Track Challenge. You can catch all of the action live on Mondays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time as Geauxgreddy will broadcast each race. If you'd like to view the races highlighted here, click the link in the top right corner for the CENLA GT Sport IRL Track Challenge playlist. To be certain you don't miss any of the tantalizing action, subscribe to Geauxgreddy and hit the bell icon to be notified of any and all upcoming events or videos. I look forward to racing with everyone in the second half. This is Geauxgreddy. Y'all have a great evening.